I will have a party today.
Uh-huh.
I'll have a party in a couple hours.
Uh-huh.
I'm totally up for a party in the middle of the night. I'm totally up for a party tomorrow. So when you are spontaneous for intimacy, you're generally that party planner that's up for a party anytime.
Welcome to the Get Your Marriage On podcast. I'm your host, Dan Purcell, a sex and intimacy coach for married couples. My mission is to help you build and maintain a sexually vibrant and emotionally intimate marriage. Join me each week as we explore principles and practical tools based on Christian values to create the passionate, joyful, and thriving marriage you're designed to have. Have you ever been invited to a party where at first you're like, I kind of like this person, I kind of want to support them, but oh, the effort it takes to prepare for the party. Because you gotta, get dressed, you got to travel across town, you might need to purchase a gift on the way. But once you're there, you're having a great time. And on your way back, you're like, it was worth the effort. I'm so glad I did that. In today's podcast with my friend and co-coach, Tammy Camp, we got to talk about this party invite as a metaphor for improving sex and intimacy in your marriage. In other words, we want to address two sides of a common pattern we see in a lot of marriages, and that is a spontaneous desire person and a responsive desire person, which we'll define more in depth in this episode. So you'll walk away from this episode with a clearer idea of what you can do in your marriage to improve initiation, improve the quality of your sexual interactions, and most importantly, deepen the joy and confidence that you'll have in the bedroom and build a stronger marriage as a result. Before we jump into the episode, I want to tell you about some exciting things we have coming up. First of all is next weekend. So this is September 26th and 27th. We're hosting a virtual getaway. And how this works is you get to join me and my wife live for 3 sessions, Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday night. And the focus, it's like a retreat. I want you and your spouse to treat this like we're going to get a little getaway together and get some real fun instruction. The whole theme of the weekend is all about arousal in your marriage. So how does your arousal patterns in the context of your marriage relate in such a way that you can build upon your strengths so you can have a sexier marriage? We're going to have a great time. We have a special guest who's going to teach a lap dance tutorial. It's going to be absolutely fun. And we get to do a deep dive onto physical arousal, relational arousal, and psychological arousal. That's using your mind to engage more sexually. So you registered for that on our website. You can go to getyourmarriageon.com and click events. We're also starting to accept applications for our next in-person retreat. This is next April, and you'll find those details on our website too. Our in-person retreats are awesome, and they're geared for couples who are in an otherwise great marriage, but wish things were better when it came to sex and intimacy. Because at our retreats, it's 4 days and 4 nights, and we do a deep dive into all things intimacy in your marriage. It's a fantastic opportunity, and I hope you can join us. Tammy Camp, welcome back to the Get Your Marriage On podcast. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
This is so good to have you. Now, you coach with me in our Get Your Marriage On program. You're one of the fellow coaches, and you're incredibly talented and gifted. And for those that don't know, this is a program that blesses hundreds of couples that are currently in the program. You get to learn from you and me and get real coaching to help them in their marriages. Which brings us to what we got to talk about today, which is going to be really fun. But before we begin, I thought I would pop quiz you with some would you rather questions. How's that
Oh,
sound?
joy. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. All right. My first question is, would you rather your spouse initiate a sexy shower time every morning or ensure that the night ends with a sensual massage?
I would go with the massage every evening.
Okay. All right. Second question. Would you rather have your spouse serve you breakfast in bed wearing nothing but an apron? I can just picture Jake, right?
Oh,
Or
goodness.
would you rather have your spouse prepare a candlelit dinner in his sexiest outfit?
Yes. I would go with the second. We have a little funny thing about breakfast in bed, so
Oh yeah,
I'll
what's
go
that?
with
Tell
it.
me.
Oh, I just have always been really funny about breakfast in bed. That's where I sleep, not where I eat. So
Oh,
we
that
don't we don't do breakfast in bed.
not your thing. Okay,
No.
gotcha. Would you rather invite your spouse to have a slow, sensual dance every night or have an impromptu makeout session at any moment of the day?
Hmm. I would go with the dancing.
All right. Yeah, you're actually a talented dancer, right? Is
Yes.
it tap
Yep.
dancing?
Tap dancing. Yep.
That's so cool. And that's how you and your spouse met through that. That's cool.
Yep.
All
Him and
right.
I, him and his sister danced together. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Great. Last question. Would you rather come home to a surprise party that your spouse planned for you, or would you rather be the one that planned the surprise party that your spouse came home to?
As far as surprise parties go, if it's a birthday party or something like that, I wouldn't want to be the planner because I don't like to be surprised. So
Okay.
I would take on the role of planning the party for somebody else to walk into.
Gotcha. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Great. So
Yeah.
would you rather now if it comes down to sexy time, would you
Ah.
rather be the one that's planning that, sending out the invites for that, or have your spouse the one doing the planning and inviting? Do you wanna be the inviter or the invitee for sexy time?
Ah. Yes. So I would go into being the invitee. It's changed for me, I would say, over the last few years. But
Uh-huh.
if we go back a few years, I definitely was the one that was invited to the intimacy party in our relationship, which
Gotcha.
is kind of fun because that's what I want to chat about today.
So what's the difference between being invited and being the invitee? It seems like it's the same thing to me.
Ah, okay. Well, I've come up with this fun analogy
Uh-huh.
that I call the party planner versus the invitee
Okay.
analogy that talks about spontaneous versus responsive desire in a relationship and how this applies to parties.
Okay, yeah. I think we talk about responsive and spontaneous on this podcast time to time, but in case someone's never heard those terms before, in broad strokes, what does that mean? What does the research say about that? Where do these concepts come from? And how does it apply to almost every married couple?
Yeah, so spontaneous and responsive are two different types of ways that we step into lots of different behaviors in our relationship.
Okay.
So this could be intimacy, it could be finances, it could be communication, it could be travel planning, like
Uh-huh.
parenting, all of these things. We generally are either spontaneous or responsive in these areas, which means spontaneous means that you're, ready to go. It is more on your mind more of the time, where responsive means that you usually need to be invited into that space. It's not on the top of your mind all the time. It takes some work, maybe per se, to get you to that place where you're more at an equal level um, to that space together. So that's how I would describe those two different ones.
Okay, cool. Very good.
Yeah.
All right, great. So, and this has a lot to do with party planning.
Yes. Let me tell you why.
All right.
So I have come up with this little bit of analogy that the spontaneous desire in an intimate relationship, we'll talk about intimacy now for a minute, is the party planner.
Okay.
Now, as the spontaneous desire being the party planner, you're always up for a party,
All right.
which means that you're just like, I will have a party today.
Uh-huh.
I'll have a party in a couple hours.
Uh-huh.
I'm totally up for a party in the middle of the night. I'm totally up for a party tomorrow. So, when you are spontaneous for intimacy, you're generally that party planner that's up for a party anytime.
Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah, you're more ready to go. Uh-huh.
Yes, you
Or
are ready
thinking
to
about
go.
it more. Right.
Yeah, right? It's on
Or
your mind.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Or it's easier to get in the mood for it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Your body responds quicker.
Mhm.
It's to that. You're like a microwave for a
Uh-huh.
party, right?
Right.
Like you
Uh-huh.
are the microwave popcorn that
Yeah.
just is ready to pop really, really quick.
All right.
Yes. And so that's what I refer to as the party planner. So you may be that in your relationship for intimacy, just
Mhm.
something to think about. Am I the party planner? On the other end of the spectrum, what I refer to for the responsive desire is that you have an invitation to your spouse's party.
Okay.
And as that responsive desire, I just want you to think like, Dan, have you ever been invited to a party that you didn't want to go to?
Yeah, I have. But you go anyway, and actually thinking back, I'm glad I went to it.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
like today for me, I went to a alumni lunch I signed up last minute because I was
Mm,
really on the fence if I wanted to go. I tend to be a little more on the introverted side, so it's not
mhm.
like right? But I showed up
Yep.
anyway, and immediately I saw some old friends that I haven't seen
Mm.
for a while. We reconnected, and it was great. I felt great, and I walked away. Now I'm really glad that I went. So
Yeah.
maybe that's like what you're talking about, being
Huh?
invited, and
Yes.
even though it's not on my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was even some resistance to it. I think it's something to
Yes.
acknowledge and be okay with too. Like
Uh-huh.
sometimes we get the invitation, we really fight going, we get there, and sometimes even it takes us a little bit of time to warm up. We're a
Right.
little bit of a wallflower. Like there's lots of things that go into that invitation that's presented to you, and it's totally okay. And it's totally normal in a relationship to be either the party planner or to have that invitation to the party. So I would refer to that responsive that we just talked about as being invited to the party of
Uh-huh.
our spontaneous partner. And it just kind of opens up the space of like, ooh, yeah, it's harder for me sometimes to go to that party, but generally when I'm there, it's a party and it's fun and it's enjoyable. And once my body responds and is ready to play, then that party is a blast.
Very good.
Yeah.
So this applies then sexually. So I guess what you're saying is there are some in a marriage, it's typical if one person's more responsive. So there are years and years early in my marriage where I tend to be more the party planner when it comes to
Yep.
sexy time in my own marriage, or it has been for the especially for the first part of our marriage. And I wish my spouse would be just as enthusiastic about planning the parties also. And when she wasn't, I thought something must be wrong with her. Because and it's not just a male-female thing, right? I
Right.
think you're about to get into this. Or maybe you tell me, or is it always the husband in marriages that are the party planners?
No, it can be either. It's whatever your dynamic creates, it can be either. Sometimes we are the party planner and we are a female. Sometimes we're the party planner and we are a male. That does not generally change things. Now, more often it does tend to be the male that is the party planner, but that's not always the case and it's totally okay and normal if you are the party planner and you are female, right? Like there's nothing wrong with anybody in either of these cases. It's okay if you're the party planner. It's okay if you have an invitation to the party. Both of them are beautiful and wonderful and makes the party really, really fun
Right.
and great when you can allow the space for both people, the party planner and the one that's been invited, to step into that party room
Okay,
per
good.
se. Yeah.
Well, let's focus now on being a good party planner. What's involved in being a good party planner then?
Yeah. Being a really good party planner means that you do have desires. You do have a lot of things that you desire that you long for in a relationship, but you also have space that there is somebody that you've given an invitation to that needs to be invited in a place where they want to be. And
Okay.
so being a really good party planner means that even though you may have a list of lots of things that seem really enjoyable to have at your party, like you want piñatas and you want confetti and you
Uh-huh.
want cake pops and you want ice cream, like all the things, chocolate and vanilla ice cream.
Uh-huh.
You also have room for the person that says, I've invited somebody that's lactose intolerant, for example.
Yeah, yeah.
And what does that mean for me to, as the party planner, have room that I need something new, even that
Mhm.
may not be on my list, but it's definitely on the people that invite it to my party's list to create a party that's enjoyable for both of us.
Gotcha. So it's being really considerate as a party planner of who you're inviting, your
Yes.
spouse,
Mhm.
and what are the yeses and nos, basically, and
Yeah.
accommodating that, making
Yeah.
room.
Yeah, because I have found as I've talked to couples and coached with couples, if you are a party planner and you have planned the party and you're just like banging your head against the wall for your responsive, you've sent the invitation and they're not coming to your party. And if they do come to your party, they're like a dead fish. You wonder why you invited a dead fish to your party because
Uh-huh.
that's gross, right? That's generally because there's not room for that invitation. Even though you put out the invitation, there's not room for them to step into the party room. It's like too full of your own ideas and your own thoughts and everything that seems great to you to have room for that person to even come into the party room.
I like that. And the way you invite matters too, right? Like I told you about this alumni luncheon that I went to. What if the invitation was, "Dan, we've noticed you've missed the last 5 luncheons. It
Yes.
it's been a long time. You've committed to this. You're an alumni. You're supposed to come. It's about time you show up."
Yep.
Like, compared to right? We're gonna have this wonderful luncheon. We would love if you could please come because have a lot to contribute, and we've got these things planned that I think you'd like to see people and whatever, right? There's a big difference. I think too many couples sometimes sex is like, it's been 3 days or 3
Yep.
weeks or 3 months. Come on.
Mhm.
It's your duty to step up here. It's your obligation as my wife or as my husband to initiate or do things. And those kinds of invitations are a little less welcoming compared to, "Hey, I've noticed you and I just can't wait to be with you. I just crave being with you." Which
Yeah.
invitation is more like inviting,
Yes.
right? So the way you
Yeah,
invite matters, and I think we forget that the longer we've been
yeah,
married because you get too accustomed to who it is
exactly.
that we're married to.
Yeah. The way that you described the first one was as if it's invitation is a choice. It
Uh-huh,
is a choice. There is an RSVP that could say, "I'm not coming
uh-huh.
tonight."
Or rain check.
And
Uh-huh.
a rain check, right? It's
Right.
a no, but how about we do this? How about we cuddle? How about we do a massage instead? There's an RSVP on that invitation. And so even when we do those invitations, we can't be demanding with our invitations. Like that was the first one that you talked about, and they're no fun invitations. It makes you say, like, I'm not coming this time, and I'm gonna take myself off the list.
Mhm.
Like, I'm gonna unsubscribe to
Uh-huh.
that invite because that feels like I'm being bullied.
Right.
And nobody wants to go to a party where they feel forced to do so. And so I loved how you gave the example of the second one, right? Like, I've missed you. I want you to come to this party. Like, I
Mhm.
desire you.
Uh-huh.
Feels very much more warm and open.
Any other tips for the more spontaneous desire spouse we're talking about now, the inviter, how to make better invitations?
Yeah. A tip for that, party planner and intimacy. What is your spouse's party? Like, are they possibly spontaneous for? And can you use that to invite them in?
Give me an
For
example of what you
example,
mean.
yeah, if your spouse loves emotional connection,
Mhm.
how can you invite knowing that they love that part? They are the party planner for emotional connection. Can you step into that and invite in a way that brings in those emotions, that takes the time to talk, to communicate, to invite in that says, like, hey, let's talk for 15 minutes. Let's cuddle in bed and talk for 15 minutes. That invitation could lead more up to their thing that they're really good as the party planner at. And you maybe are not. You're more the one that has to be invited to that emotional connection.
I like that. I like that. I think a lot of couples that I work with, maybe in the past in our program too, there's some frustration when it comes to sexual intimacy because there's like this end goal in mind. Like we haven't had it in a while, let's say, and we want to get through it. And we need to get from step to A to B to C, skip through the foreplay so we can get to the main event. And like
Mhm.
there's this mentality of there's like a start and an end, and we know we finish when we've hit this kind of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Compared to couples who have learned how to kind of mature through that to just enjoy the entire process. It doesn't have to end at a certain mark or end at a certain thing, but just, it may not be all fireworks every single time, but they've created a space between them that they both just, it's sex worth wanting. It's what they
Mhm.
both want to be there. It's inviting for both of them to be there. And I think that's what you're saying here. We craft invitations that are really good for both of us. And it's a place we both want to be rather
Yeah.
than something to like cross off or check off.
Yeah. This is, as you're talking about couples that we've worked with, it's about connection. That's what I have found more than anything.
Mhm.
Both the party planner and the invitee, really, they have a really, really solid shared goal. And it's about connection. Now we
Uh-huh.
don't often see that. Like it's hard to get couples to see that, but that's the goal. It is the party can be really, really great, but if there's no connection because there's not space for both of us, then it's not really great. The party's not really great. And so really ultimately any type of invitation has to be about building connection. Any type of invitation by choice has to be about connection. So both sides have to choose in those areas to have a
Very
desire to connect.
great. Okay, let's talk about, the person being invited to the party. Let's talk about that
Yes.
side. What do you have for
Yeah.
us?
So that's a really cool thing about the invitation. We talked about a little bit before, but it's a choice.
Mm.
Being invited is a choice. And often as a responsive to desire, we feel like our freedom has been ripped out from under us. We feel like the choice has been taken away. But I want to tell you all, if you are responsive desire, like stop it. It's about seeing that it's about you yourself, the powerful person that you are, choosing,
Mhm.
choosing to step into that invitation and be there. If you said yes, then choose to be there. If you said no, great, maybe work on the why.
Uh-huh.
But if you said yes, you have chosen that invitation, and it's now in all of your power and control to choose how you want to show up. And to me, that's really important for that invitee, that responsive desire to say, I chose this.
Mhm.
I said, yes, I'm not doing it out of duty and obligation, but I'm doing it because I choose my spouse. And so that's just a really a mind shift that you can start to change in who you are if you are the responsive desire that says, am I choosing or am I feeling like my freedom has been ripped away?
That's really good. Good. Great, great. One thing that I've learned about sexuality, especially in long-term marriages, is the sense of freedom. The more freedom you feel in your relationship, the more depth you can connect, the greater you can explore your sexuality, explore your spouse's sexuality. There's just so much that comes with freedom. Freedom and eroticism come together in the same package. So, the quick way to get freedom is remembering that you're empowered to choose. And that's what I hear you saying. I am free to
Yes.
choose. I am voluntarily choosing to step into this and to enjoy it.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. I had to learn this. I am definitely the responsive desire in my relationship. And for years, I lived in this like, I had that invitation, but I didn't love the invitation. I didn't understand the invitation. I saw it very much as a like, man, what is wrong with him and why does he want so many parties, right?
Uh-huh.
And so I had to step into that power of freedom that, that at some point I started watching my husband shift in the place where I noticed that he was choosing me. He
Mm.
was giving me that freedom to accept that invitation in a way that he never had. Now,
Uh-huh.
in that moment, I had to do a lot of introspection, I would say,
Yeah.
and say, why am I doing this? Why am I showing up to a party with this invitation and being the most miserable party guest
Uh-huh.
ever? Now, it wasn't always horrible.
Uh-huh.
It was not bad. We didn't know any different for a lot of the stuff. But a lot of times I was showing up out of duty and obligation. And I did have to learn how to shift that. And, the phrase "do better, Tammy" came to my mind because I had to learn like, what am I doing? I chose to be in a relationship with my spouse. Yes, this is not top of mind all the time for me, but I have the power to choose.
Uh-huh.
I have the freedom to step into this and decide what it means to me and take that beautiful, wonderful power invitation that my spouse, who adores me and loves me and thinks I am the most beautiful person on the earth, has invited me to.
Mhm.
And that started making a shift in me that allowed me to show up to the party better.
That's good. What other tips do you have to showing up to the party? Let's say you've said yes, but you still don't feel like being there.
Yeah. And that's okay sometimes too. I talked about that wallflower. Sometimes as a responsive desire, sometimes right at first. That is something I'll also say. Sometimes you just choose. Remember, I told you that the first step is just to choose. Now, it doesn't mean that you're ready to go. And often that's a little bit of a disconnect. So for the party planner, realize your wife, even though she accepts your invitation, or your partner is
Uh-huh.
not just going to be ready to go. If they choose, accept that choice. And as that responsive desire you've chosen, now step in. And sometimes it does take some warm up time. Totally own that you're okay with that. As the party planner, own that it's okay. That the person that you invited needs some warm up. And as the person that was invited that has that invitation, be okay that it takes some time for you to warm up. It's totally okay and totally wonderful to accept that fact about yourself.
That's good. That's really good. In our culture, we do have this assumption, this narrative that having high sexual desire is a good thing. And if you don't have it, then something's kind of wrong with you, or you got to go get your hormones checked, or whatever it is that people want to say to you, right? But the more I do this work, I've learned sometimes having low desire is actually good judgment. You're actually, it's wise to actually to turn down the party invitation. Can you tell me more about times in your experience when it might be good judgment to actually decline the party invite?
Yeah, like sometimes you are not going to be there as the responsive desire. It's not the right time. It's not the right place. It's not a safe place. There's not safety in your relationship at that time. Now, sometimes that spontaneous, that higher desire feels safety in being intimate, and so that's where it kind of plays in to have that little bit of better judgment that says like, this is not going to be a good party. This is not going to be a good time, and so it is better for us to choose differently, to fix some things in our relationship where we're going to choose that connection, where we're both going to feel freedom to step into this. That's a time where it's okay to say no. There's times where you're exhausted, where there's a lot of things going on that it's just not the right time or the right place to do these things. Sometimes you just need to see like what is pulling me to need that. If you are the party planner and the spontaneous, like, just stopping to see, like, why do I need that right now? And is that really what is needed?
Hmm.
Or is there a better way to think? Is there a better way to be? Is it just holding each other? Is it just being together
Yeah, that's
in
good.
that? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, one example that comes to mind of a couple I worked with is he really wanted to have sex with his wife, but she could sense that in it, there was a little bit of a performance uh, aspect of why he wanted to have sex. It
Mhm.
wasn't really like it was about her too, but there was a strong like kind of wanted to get another notch in his belt, or is about the stats. It was about seeing if they could like do more variety. It was about conquering than it was really about closeness. And she'd say yes, but she really felt lost in the sexual experience. And he thought it was great, but he kind of had a very myopic view of what's going on in the sexual act. So she started, withdrawing a little more or actually saying no. He got upset. And it wasn't until they really understood this concept that it was a good judgment for her to turn that down because it was an invitation for bad sex. I
Yep.
you don't want to jump into a bad sexual experience or one that you're going to feel like you were just kind of used for their own ego purposes or because they want to feel good. And so it takes a lot of humility for both spouses to be able to do that. But sometimes it is good judgment to turn down the party invitation
Yeah.
because you're going for something higher. There's the higher good. I want to stay in love with you, but if I said yes to this, then I would resent it. I would resent you, and I don't want to be in a position to resent you. So it takes more maturity sometimes to say no, but to realize low desire is good judgment, I think is
Yeah.
important.
And the one thing that I would say about that, just as a little warning for that lower desire, it can be good judgment, but it can also become really easy to say no all the time.
Yeah.
And so for that responsive, for that person that is being invited to the party, you can have good judgment with that lower desire or that responsive desire, but you also need to be careful of how often you are saying no. Is it always a no? And you could have some work to work through because often we just say no out of almost habit. in our relationships. And so just if you are that responsive type behavior, sometimes we need to do some work around that to build that back up and say, am I a maybe? Or can I be a yes? That is accepting that invitation, even like we talked about when you're not there yet, but you could be. So I would
Yes.
just be a little very cautious about that for those responsive desires of like, how often am I saying no and why? Can I
Yeah.
talk about it? Can I communicate about this with my spouse about why? To talk about how I can get to a yes. So that's the one thing that I would say. It can be good judgment, but it also can become a habit to just
Yeah,
say
right,
no.
right. And sometimes no is bad judgment because part of good sex is there's always a little bit of anxiety in it. That's just
Mhm.
the way it is. It's
Yes.
eroticism and anxiety exist together. More erotic, the more anxious you're going to be. But some
Mhm.
people are so quote unquote allergic to any whiff of anxiety that no becomes the easy answer. And so they end up co-creating a marriage dynamic where you have the inviter always inviting, 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 trying so being so creative to invite, and your answer
Mhm.
is always no. You end up with a marriage where you're going to be at arm's length. There's going to be low intimacy because you're not willing to tolerate a little bit of discomfort, within yourself for a little bit to create something better. So, yeah, you need to accept the invitation. It feels
Yes.
like we're
Yeah.
talking out of two sides of our mouth, right? Like,
Yeah.
no, don't accept it. Yes, accept
I
it.
know.
And the
Yeah.
answer is really down to you. And I think if I were trying to come up with a general rule, it would be, would accepting this invitation end up, if your goal is a stronger, more intimate marriage, will it build a stronger, more intimate marriage? Yes or no. I think that would be a good way to test whether this is a good party to show up to.
Yes, yes. And, it doesn't mean that you're gonna be saying yes to, every night per se, right? But it's a balance between the two of you of, if you are the party planner, if you're putting out the invitations, am I being respectful that this is not, top of mind always for my responsive partner? And then, as that one that's responding, am I acknowledging that request and can I step in? Can I choose that? Can I try to go to the party and sometimes even try out the party to see if it's something that will work out for tonight. And it is fully okay sometimes when you're exhausted, when there's lots of things going on to say no. Um, but just make sure that that's not the norm all the time.
All right, last concept. Let's talk about becoming co-planners of a
Mhm,
party, being more collaborative. What does that look
mhm.
like?
Yeah, I would say that, changing this dynamic is fully doable. So when we start talking about spontaneous and responsive, it generally is like, yep, he is totally the party planner or she is totally the party planner and I definitely have that invitation. But what's cool is we acknowledge each other, as we see each other, as we had that freedom into our relationship, I feel like we both become a little bit of party planners and also able to send out those invitations. It takes lots of work, but when there is freedom, when there is choice, it allows for more collaboration in a relationship where it's not just about I'm this and you're that. It is just like, what does our shared party look like? And can we invite each other to that?
Yeah, and can we co-create the agenda of the party?
Right. Yes.
Can we
Yeah.
explore new things together? Can we
Right.
uh,
Yeah.
create experiences that are meaningful and bonding and connecting and erotic and fun and all
Mhm.
the good things together? So both
Yes.
people have a shared voice, and there's room for two people to kind of bring their ideas
Uh-huh.
and share
Yeah.
it together.
Yeah, that party planner, for example, can start to have a voice and start to maybe share some things. Doesn't mean that it's going to be a yes for their spouse, but they can start to share some things that are their desires, that are their fantasies, that are things that they really think may be fun. And it's a free space for that other collaborative member of the party to think about and say, you know what, I'm open to that. There's space for that now, and so that collaboration can be really powerful for them, just and or it could say, you know what, I'm not ready for that, but I'm so glad you shared. Like, the communication is open, there is honesty and vulnerability when we have two party planners and two people that are invited. I think that that makes a little bit of shift, that there's room for each of you in the relationship for however that looks for each one of you.
That's really good. Great. All right, Tammy, this has been really good. What are your black belt party planning tips?
Yes.
Let's take this to the
Um,
next level.
yeah. Okay. So if you are the party planner right now, if you are that spontaneous desire, my black belt for you would be keep planning the parties.
Okay.
Do put out those fun invitations, create something that is just like powerful. Don't stop inviting. Make it about love, make it about connection, make it about choice. For the black belt tip for the person that is invited, that has the invitation, is choose. Choose to show up. Choose to start seeing what your part is. That choose to accept the freedom that you've been given and see what that's going to change for you. See what desires may open up for you. See that you can own who you are in your sexual relationship and that it's totally beautiful and wonderful. And then for both of them, even though we collaborate in our relationships, we're never going to become each other.
Mm-hmm.
So part of that is that your party as the spontaneous is always going to be you. It is like has you all in it. And as the responsive, that has you that you've brought into it. And as you can create that for the two of you, if there's space to have that black belt fight in the bedroom, it
Uh-huh.
is about that there's space and it's beautiful and wonderful that you are very different. That's where the fireworks happen. You're different, you're beautiful, you're wonderful, and intimacy is fun and really cool when that happens.
That's really good. Well, thank you very much. Where
Yes,
can
thank
people
you.
go to learn more about you and our Get Your Marriage On program and things like that too?
Yeah, so you can go to Get Your Marriage On. Our next level program is very powerful. We do lots of awesome, amazing coaching in that. We have groups and cohorts and private coaching in that. And then you can also find me on Instagram, Tammy Camp Coaching, and then my website is the same. And so you can find me in those places as well.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Please share it, along with our apps Intimately Us and Just Between Us, with your married friends. I promise they will thank you for life. If you want a more meaningful sexual and intimate connection in your marriage, I invite you to check out my Get Your Marriage On program. Over 100 couples have said this program packs tremendous value and has helped their intimacy grow to the next level. Now, go get your marriage on.